All right, I've been putting this shit off like way too freaking long. Here's my review of Severance, first part. Looking at the pilot. Forgive the mic quality. I am just like trying to record this on the fly before episode 7 of the Amazing Digital Circus, because I know that's probably going to take up a lot of my headspace pretty freaking soon. So yeah, overall, I think it is a really fantastic start. Just starting from like the very beginning, there's this really great paralleling of the two main characters' perspectives, Helly and Mark. Just the whole opening scene is really, really brilliant because it kind of sets up the idea that Mark is going to be like the villain, because the way he talks to her from her perspective is damn near sociopathic. But of course, later on, you actually see that it comes from the fact that he is like kind of doing this as like his first day, his first job. And it just immediately is a really brilliant way of getting across how this kind of corporate culture creates these social divides between people. And that there's this like entire bureaucratic process that gets in the way of genuine human interaction, which is why like people that are far into the corporate industry tend to talk like robots, approximating human emotion. This is where I think the title Severance gets a third meaning atop the two, obvious ones. First of all, severance being like an actual like business term, but then also it being the severing of minds. But on top of that, and this is what like the entire show kind of is built around, is that there's also the severing of humans through corporate culture. That there are these types of, these specific types of things put in place are exactly what makes it so hard for workers to form genuine human connection and emotions like that. There is another layer to that whole severance thing. And I just think that that's a stroke of genius, really. And yeah, it's and then I think the entire like beginning scene where they set up both Mark's grief and then also him just like walking into like his workplace. It's just so visually like pleasing. I really, really love it. It's definitely where you can see the influence of the Stanley Parable in this, because there's a lot of like those liminal spaces, I even just now noticed like a really nice piece of dialogue between him and the security guard, where before he gets in the elevator, the guard tells him like, "Hey, have a good day," or no, like, "I'll see you in the evening," and Mark says, "I'll see you soon," just immediately setting up like the whole time dilation that he deals with and how that fundamentally ruptures how he perceives time compared to someone who isn't severed. I also just love like the very, very, very meticulous acting between Mark's innie and his outie. And that just like out the gate, you actually see like how he hangs himself differently. Mainly look at his head. Like look at how he holds his head. Because when he walks in as his outie, it's like more lax, But then the moment he gets in, like he straightens up like a soldier. It's, I think, a really interesting bit of character building and really shows how they're effectively already split in terms of like the way that their upbringing has fundamentally altered both sides of his mind. And there's obviously some very terrifying ramifications from that. But I think it really picks up once we get to our introduction of Kobel and Mr. Milchek as kind of our two primary, I don't know if I'd say antagonists, but definitely like the major two characters that a lot of our characters' conflict kind of revolves around. And off the bat, like they do a really good job at just getting across the complexities between, in the relationship between Mark and Kobel. Because even, at the beginning, you kind of see that there is like this mix between like being this like cold arm's length like boss talking to an employee, but at the same time, just with the way the actress like just kind of acts around him, you immediately get that infatuation she has, which is of course really great foreshadowing for when you get into the point where you learn that she's kind of low-key stalking him in the outie world. It's a really fucked up like power imbalance, but it creates such an interesting dynamic between the two. And they're always being kind of this push and pull, with Mark being very understandably apprehensive in both situations because she pushes herself upon him so much. And I just think that's, at least to me, a very compelling bit of conflict between these two characters that kind of makes them really work as the show's core. And I think this is a really good time to segue into Helly. Oh my god, she is such a delight. Right out the gate, I think they've done like a really great job with her. And her actress like really fucking kills it. That whole moment where she took the radio and just bricked Mark with it, it lives rent free in my head. I could watch that on loop so many goddamn times. It is hands down the best moment in the entire fucking show. And also, I really like how it sort of plays off the dichotomy of a very, spoiled, entitled kind of character, where in the outside world, where she has basically everything spoon-fed to her, she's much more of like a sociopathic, like, brat, but here, where she has all her rights stripped away, that type of personality is immediately recontextualized into being someone who's much more of a voice of the people type of person, because like she has nothing here, and because of that really changes how she responds to situations, not only but also how the way in which she responds to situations comes off to us, because it's like easy to just like look at like a rich person throwing a big fit over things and being like, oh, boo-hoo. But when it's somebody who has like literally nothing and is treated like a slave and they have a crash out, you immediately just kind of get it, And I think it just sets up a really interesting sort of kind of this character study of her that is explored a lot more in season 2. But right here, it's set up really, really interestingly. And even like out the gate, like I didn't even notice just how well they built up to the major twist coming. Spoilers. But I think every single aspect of this entire pilot works so well because they clearly had the entire series figured out before they even like put pen to paper, It's really impressive. It's just a really fantastic script. I also really love the choice of having the first half and second half be separated by first the innies, then the outies life. Because, again, it just kind of helps slowly build the atmosphere and also the suspense. It's, I think, a really good way of going about introducing things in a very terse, very deliberate way. It's just really, all around, just really well paced. And honestly, that's kind of all I really have to say at this point. It's just a really, really good first episode. A really, really good one. I think one of the strongest pilots that I've reviewed on this channel so far. Actually, no, the strongest. I'm going to scratch that. It kind of competes with Gaslight District for me. For that, I would say it gets a 9.5 out of 10.